Alright, so we're going to play Netori. Netori is kind of the self-tuning piece for the Hitoyogiri. There's many Netori in the book, but we're just going to do one of them, and before we play it, I'm going to give you a confusing explanation. Yay! You can skip this part to the playing part if you want to, just fast forward the video to where I'm holding the Hitoyogiri again, if you don't want to get confused. If you do, take a look at this. These are all the different Netori pieces. There is one Netori for each of the 5 modes. Actually, there's 2 Netori for each of the 5 modes, because each of the modes can be played in either Ritsu or Ryo. Now, the Ritsu scale is ah. The Ryo scale is a little different, right? The 3rd note is lowered about a half tone. Ah, right? Ah. There's a kind of a difference there, and there's a different feel to the 2 scales. However, in Japanese music, it's never clear kind of which is which. It seems like everybody is just composing music by ear, and it's hard to tell the 2 scales apart sometimes because they actually blend into each other. If you keep the Ritsu scale going, well, once you've got about 7 notes there, you actually have a Ryo scale in the middle as well. So, which is it? I don't know. Now, to make it even more confusing, the Hitoyogiri is written, most of the pieces are composed in, according to older manuals, Ritsu. Why is that? Because it's a Ritsu scale starting from the bottom. Right, that's a Ritsu scale, okay? So, alright, Ritsu, great. So we play Ritsu no Netori, right? And not the Ryo Netori, right? Wrong. Apparently in this book, Kamiya Junte decided that we would be more like the Shakuhachi. The Shakuhachi actually starts its scales on Re, right? On the 3rd hole there. So, the result of that is that a Ryo scale, played here, is actually a Ritsu scale that's played from the bottom. Since the composers of the older pieces were considering Ritsu to begin at the bottom hole of the flute and not from the middle, we're actually playing the Ryo Netori for these pieces. Maybe somebody who wants to can kind of like make a career of studying why. But we're just going to play it, okay? So, the conclusion of all this talking is that we're going to play this piece right here. It's the 2nd from the left. Now, from the top, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes. E, period. Chi, ta, u, ru, ho. Let me just play that for you first. Right, let's pick that apart a little bit. I hate picking things apart, but we should though. Let's just pick it apart. I'm sorry, Netori, but we're going to pick you apart a little bit. Okay, we start with E, then U, and then E. Now this is the beginning to a lot of the classical Hitoyogiri pieces. Kamiya Junte's kind of lineage, if you want to use that term. I don't really like to talk about lineage as much, but pieces that usually start ue in the older pieces. Doesn't that sound kind of like tsure? That's interesting, isn't it? He adds an extra e on top, and we're going to play them as they're written, so it's kind of like this. Or but I like to keep that kind of tsure, shakuhachi feel to it. And one thing we can do is kind of a korobi, which is a tone color technique used in the Hitoyogiri, and give it a little bit of a flippity flip sound. just because I like to. Right, then the rest is pretty much self-explanatory until the ru. So we've got chi, ta, u. Then ru is a funny character, okay? Ru can have at least 2 different pitches. Maybe more if I think about it. But this ru is another tone color effect. It actually has the same pitch in this case as the note e, right? But we've got this fingering, right, where we open the first and third holes. You might be tempted to play it like an u on a shakuhachi, right? But then it becomes, and it kind of adds a half tone that's not meant to be there. From examining other scores, we have seen that ru is actually the same pitch as e in these Oshiki pieces, and its function is a tone color effect. So you're kind of going from u to ru, right? Here's u. When you go to ru, instead of going directly to ru, you put this down and then pick this up. So it goes ba-dong, right? And you've got this kind of ringing bell sort of strange effect happening there. Now you don't want to do it that slow, but that's just to show you what's happening. It should sound just like ooh eh. And that's called a mawari, like kind of a turn, right? Because it goes down and then comes back up. And this effect is used throughout the Hitoyogiri pieces. Right, so uru, ho. So let's put that together. Again. And it's such a simple piece, it's not even a piece in itself, but since it's so short, this is good to practice on, right? As you're playing it, listen to the sounds around you. Kind of pay attention to that and let your sound blend into the other sounds that are happening in the room. Over here I've turned off most of the noisy sounds of the fan in the other room that was keeping me cool before, and now I'm starting to sweat. We've got the sound of the little bubbler thingy in the goldfish tank over behind me. Yep, that's Flower, the goldfish. My daughter named her. She also named, we have these crickets called toilet crickets, well, benjo korogi. They're called toilet crickets in Japan because they often go into damp places, and we caught one and put it in a tank one time, and that also was named Flower. It was Flower, the toilet cricket. Anyway, listen to the sounds around you, right? That's part of what Hitoyogiri Shakuhachi is about. And let some of your feeling go into the piece. This is the only way we have to really rediscover what's going on here, right? If you play it too straight, it's just kind of boring. But again, if you fancy it up too much, it's also boring. You just need to let whatever comes in there, let it come from way deep inside. Don't think about it and try to do it. But as you play this piece, it's going to kind of want to be played in a certain way. That's why I came up with that kind of korobi effect there, right? But really, that's up to you. So play it and start to find your own voice in there. Play it quietly, play it a little faster, play it a little slower. Alright, so that's Netori. Maybe we've got a hang of it now. The next thing that we want to do, after we've got a basic hold on what's going on there, is play it in the way we'd actually play a piece. Now, on the preceding pages, or maybe that was the following pages, Mr. Kamiya tells us how to use this. It's like when you play a Hitoyogiri piece, you start with playing a tsutune, right? That's with all the holes closed. Then you play your Netori. And then another tsutune. And then you go to the next page and you play the piece Shirabe, which is not really a piece, it's just a little kind of addendum to the tsutune. You can find it here. Now there's two of them. There's Ua Shirabe as well. You play this for pieces that have a lot of high pitches in them. So we won't worry about that for now. We'll just look at the regular Shirabe, which is right here. Very short piece. And it's echi, and you've got a little line there that says you extend the sound out a little bit longer, and then a bunch of cheese. Ooh, cheese. I love cheese. It's hard to get cheese in Japan. When you can, it's kind of expensive, so it's a rare treat. It's nice that we have so much cheese happening here. So, echi. And then another tsutune. Now, hopefully you can memorize Shirabe. Echi, chi, 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 chi. So let's kind of put those together, and then we've got our preamble, okay? So, tsutune, Oshiki, ryou no netori, Shirabe. Relax your shoulders. So by the time you're able to play that, you should be well in tune with your Hitoyogiri, and you should be ready to play an actual piece. But for today, we'll leave it there. Just for good measure, to say goodbye, we'll play that whole thing one more time together. Next time.